You know, I remember this one from last year, but I don't remember it being quite this good. Hey everybody, Josh the RV Nerd with Bish's RV up here in Grand Rapids, Michigan again today, taking a look at a 203 RK LE Surveyor. A lot of alphabet soup on this one. And this is one of a number now of RV builders who are making this model, and they all do their own cool little things, but I'm going to give them some credit, considering this is one of the lighter and lesser expensive versions of this floor plane that I've seen overall. They're really firing on all cylinders here. So we've got some Asdel in the walls. It is a aluminum structured lightweight RV. We have a basic solar battery tender. It's definitely not the biggest, baddest in that regard, but we've got some good front pass-through storage, and I think easily the most and best storage I've seen all around the front 60 by 80 true Queen Murphy bed that I've ever seen. And it is a bendy bed, but as far as bendy beds go, this is about the simplest, easiest to operate that I've seen, where if you do it right, you're not gonna have to make the bed every morning, every evening. It is a very simple operation here. And it's also one of the real secrets in the sauce that makes this little RV look and feel not so little. This is 10 pounds of sugar in a 5-pound sack, and no RV this size has any business having a kitchen with that much counter space and that much storage, all that prep area. That is just I think, frankly, the kitchen's the best part of this RV, although for no bigger than it is, the amount of living space that it has is actually pretty impressive and pretty admirable. The Grand Design Imagine, I think, is definitely the OG of this floor plan, but at this point, there's a lot of different builders building this thing. The bathroom space is pretty minimal, but I don't know, I think I could make it through. The RV has like TPMS kind of setup going on this thing. There's a bunch of really cool, slick little qualities on this one that, I mean, I remember this camper, like I said, but I don't remember it being quite detailed this well. And actually, a couple of the points of criticism that I had on this brand from last year, whether they were paying attention to the comments on these videos or they just got their stuff together, there's not a lot that I really have to criticize on this thing for what it is. It is a dynamite little package, man. And there are a number of like really good content, like standout features here that are easy to miss. Now there's things like you can clearly see it's a carpetless slide, and I like they made the main floor and the slide floor matchy-match. That's something I really like. There's no heat vents in the floor. That's pretty obvious. You've got good cross breeze window coverage, which is great. I do like just the plain, simple, soft white accent light above the slide. But what I'm getting at is there's some things like the fact that this has like a 6'9" ceiling. When you're in a smaller size, weight-sensitive class, I mean, it's almost a given it's going to have a 6.5-foot interior. The fact that they went 3 inches bigger than the average bear, I like it. It makes a big difference for me. It means more cabinet space. It just feels bigger. Like if you're going to design a house, if you had a choice between 7-foot slides and 8-foot slides, you're going to make it rain on, or slides, yeah, in a house. Ceilings, you're going to make it rain on the bigger ones, what I'm saying. Now that is just a conventional vent. It's not like a power vent. There's no big XL vent fan, but they are using a constructed wood truss walk-on roof. So if you wanted to piggyback some power off of one of those lights to a fan, you could definitely do that. And I'm going to get this all open, but just eyeballing it. Look at all of the storage around this. And something else I'm going to give them credit for, your overhead cabinet doors that just kind of flip up and down, those actually have struts so that they can hold themselves up. There are a lot of brands that run a lot more money that either aren't doing that or have stopped doing it. And I believe in giving credit where it's due. I think they're doing a really good job there. Now, by default, when you're looking at this, the TV doesn't look like it's in the best viewing location. That can pivot around, so don't have a heart attack. Similarly, when you see a Danger Will Robinson flashing light, it usually doesn't mean anything good. This is just screaming at us because I don't have a battery on the RV. I've got a battery box plugged directly through a 7-way pigtail right now, which is how I'm getting 12-volt power into the RV. But I've not hooked up to the battery terminals on the RV, and the solar controller don't like that. It's telling us we need to fix that. This is something I think is very cool, and I kind of tuned into this based on your viewership feedback. One level countertop. So there's no height exchange or anything like that. It is just maximally max. I couldn't decide if I wanted to say maximum or maximally. So what came out of my mouth was derp. It's just maximum effectiveness and storage space. Now down below here, you've got interestingly a central vacuum system, but it also has this cool little toe kick unit down at the bottom. So this thing is all carpetless. You don't have to get out the whole pool cleaner kind of kit. You can just broom everything over to that, flick it up with your toes, flick it up, suck it up, smack it down rawhide. It's kind of the option it gives you. And when you sit here, you kind of realize that the window coverage on the door side of this RV, it's better than you think. And that's sometimes why I like actually sitting on the couches or in the dinettes or whatever and really sort of putting you in the driver's seat on one of these and letting you kind of decide. And this is something I kind of picked on for them last year. Like, you looked at this, and it's like a cutting board backsplash for the stove, and that's really neat. They stained it up real nice. But last year, the backside of this was not fully stained. Turns out they didn't like getting called out on that, apparently. And whether it was me or somebody else, I really appreciate and respect the fact that they're being a little more complete and thorough with their work. Now, back here behind the stovetop, you got like a little utensil cup holder over here on the side, literally a utensil cup holder, and little knife rack over here. Now, this rear corner, some folks get kind of twisted up on this. Any builder who makes this floor plan has this funky rear corner. One thing I want to point out to you, you do have some household outlets up in there. So if you wanted to make this like a coffee maker, air fryer, toaster, oven little corner, you could do that. Another thing I want to mention to you here is normally this RV would have like a 10 plus cubic foot, 12 volt compressor fridge. Today we're looking at an optional two-way, but normally that would be a 12 volt. Obviously, both are potentially available there. Weaving our way around a little bit, your slide side windows, those do open for airflow, but the giant window that we're looking at over here, that big picture window, it does not. Which, that's one of those little kind of things. It almost looks like wasted space above those windows, but it's because they're using a taller ceiling that allowed them to do a taller slide out. They're using big standard size windows, they just have an extra tall slide, so there's just a little extra wall space there. Now, there is storage below that dinette. They call it an easy lift system. I don't know what's easy about it. Like, I'm not even going to deal with it because I'm just going to say this. I ain't a fan. Because you have to still take off the cushions. You still have to lift the decking. I don't really know what's been accomplished with it. It doesn't really impress me much. But it also isn't hurting anything by being there. There's nothing lost. I just don't feel there's anything gained. Looking our way around here. Let's talk about that TV. That TV can pivot, right? I mentioned that. Let's take a look at that. So if I'm sitting over here at the front Murphy sofa like this, voila, suddenly you can watch TV. And then when we start going through this kitchen, holy crap, Batman. There is so much storage in this kitchen, above, below, everywhere, and just tons and tons of countertop prep space. More than I see in a lot of fifth wheels, but the storage keeps going all around the front Murphy bed. You got it below it, above it, around it, everywhere. And that is, again, a 60 by 80 True Queen Murphy bed. And again, it is technically a bendy bed, but as you can see me demonstrating here, it's about as easy as they come. So this is a rare find. Murphy beds and tall people basically don't usually jive. And this is one where you kind of can. And behind those hanging wardrobe towers, you've got little side stands with little hidden power outlets down below inside of them, which I really, really like. If I'm just going to be nitpicky, I'd prefer to be Josh, but if I'm going to be picky, it's true. It doesn't have a privacy curtain, which I think wouldn't be a bad find on this. And I can't recall. I think with the bed down, you can still close the slide. So what that means is if you just don't even want this to be a Murphy bed, if you just want a true queen bed, you should be able to do that. It should be something you could accomplish here. Now, back over here in this rear corner, we have ourselves a porcelain foot flush stool. And the leg room was good. The elbow room was okay. If you're bigger than me, it might be a problem. And those pockets beside me, that is what I call elephant enema storage right there. Because it looks like you don't give an elephant an enema if you stick your arm all the way up in there. I'm not a big fan of open face bathroom storage. I've been told by a lot of actual RV owners that for just like putting some towels in there, they're fine. The sink is tiny. The sink is really, really tiny. It's big enough to get a set of hands in, but you're going to want to have a hand towel nearby because you're probably going to splash some water on. Thankfully, that is a sealed edge pressed membrane countertop. Now, down below that, this is kind of interesting. This is where your like monitor panel and your like water heater controls are, as well as your holding tank heater switches are all over in here, which is kind of interesting. Those switches will light up red when you've actually turned them on, you know. The shower does have, you know, you see the full surround paneling, and once again, taller ceiling means happy RV nerd, means I can stand in that rectangular shower without banging my head on stuff in the elbow room, as long as you turn sideways. Not too awful bad. Again, not a massively over-the-top kind of camper. You got the small little vent fan there. Could it be exchanged? Yes. Do they offer it from the factory that way? No. It is what it is. You hear me say that on a lot of RVs, and it just kind of is what it is. Another thing, I think we're going to be real happy with the road mode access on this. Oh man, this thing, for a slide-out model, I don't think you could really hope for much better here. So as I back up, without question, with the slide fully retracted, yes, indeedy doodly, as Ned Flanders would say, you can totally use the bed. So again, if you don't care that it's a Murphy bed, don't use it like a Murphy bed. Nothing says you have to. And then of course, because the kitchen is just all down this side of the RV and the bathroom's in that corner, this thing is totally turtle friendly, dude. Now, one of the other really nice qualities of this one, the small size, the length, the weight, they all lend themselves to some very, very nice towing. If you want to start kind of talking about the concept of like half-ton towable, I think that this qualifies very nicely for almost any half-ton out there. I don't think I'd necessarily pair it up with a mid-size pickup. I know some people would ask that. Some bigger tow package SUVs could also cut the mustard here wherever. Oh, actually, yes, I do. Now that I've asked that before, some of you viewers at home were very kind enough to mention the origin of cut the mustard, which is debatable whether it comes from a military phrase for cut the mustard or actually cutting mustard seed plants. I think it's possible the truth lies somewhere in between. Motion-sensitive lighting over here, which is nice. If I'm being picky, a matching motion light on the other side would be great. And I like that they come with the little, drill bit adapter on this. But this is the extra kind of, here's some extra food for thought information I want to provide you. You see the corner stabilizer jack there. Obviously, you got the drill bit to operate that thing. Something I've only learned in like the last year and a half is, the manufacturers of those stabilizers don't actually want you using like an impact driver drill type thing and the drill bit adapter on those, because they're not rated for that kind of stress. They're rated just to get down to kiss the ground and then snug it up, buttercup. That's it. So use that at your own risk. Don't sit there and, like, you don't level the RV with your corner jacks. If that's what you're trying to do, you're doing it wrong. So keep that in mind. The stable steps giving us a nice sturdy, trek in and out of the RV. Takes a lot of the herky-jerkiness out of it. And being fair, I respect why they didn't put the awning any further forward, because the baggage door, but it makes me wonder if they couldn't have slid that rear camp kitchenette station back a little bit and then extended the awning, because the awning's okay. It's not a lot to write home about, so it is a minimal awning, but it's also not a giant RV. One of the nice things here, these are import tires, but you do have a tire pressure monitoring system standard from the factory, which is pretty darn cool. And if I get you down here, one thing I can tell you, I'm not going to sit here and overpromise and underdeliver. These are not some Four Seasons Arctic campers, or just nothing like that. It's a spring, summer, fall kind of camper. That's what this is. That's why it's lighter weight. That's why it's less money. but it's super functional. It's super nice. I'm like, I would flip that griddle box upside down, wouldn't I? So now, like, I'm sitting there, like, what is wrong with that? My brain couldn't process the fact that I'm just dumb and didn't look at the box before I flipped it. Anyway, so a lot of RVs have these little mini camp kitchen stations, but a lot of times what happens is you have a griddle that slides out directly in front of the refrigerator. But if you've got a screaming hot surface right here, it ain't always fun or easy reaching over it trying to get to your refrigerator. And I threw my bottle of water in there just for a reference point. So their solution, they slid the griddle over, and that created a spot. Now, this is what I'm going to call the dog dish. It is not a real sink. You actually need to get that out of there to slide that platform in, to slide the whole thing shut. What is nice, if you look at this, it is actually gas strut assisted, so it's very, I mean, it's not going anywhere. You have to really push the thing to shut it. Push it. Push it. Push it real good. So if somebody bumps it, you're not gonna like dump your grill stuff off or anything like that. And if you don't like the little dog dish sink, don't use it. You could always throw like a cutting board over there, you know, cut some limes up to put in your Corona or whatever, you know, you get the idea. It's just a thing that you could do. It's not a thing that you have to do, so kind of keep that in mind. On the back here, we got that cargo rack. Those are typically about 200-pound rated before the spare tire, so kind of budget your total weight allowances there. But a small portable generator, if you want to do a little bit of camping off-grid a touch, that is something where this one could do the job. And I like the fact that they've included a ladder right from the factory, giving you a look and walk around up there. Overall, not a whole lot to write home about. I do want to mention, though, they have stuck to their guns of doing what I'm going to say is pretty minimal solar. That's an 80-watt solar package. It doesn't come with a factory battery or anything like that. That's obviously stuff we can assist you with. But it's basically a battery tender. That's all that solar package is. That's not the kind of solar where you can stay off grid and hide from the government or something like that, you know? You're not going to run the air conditioner. Holy cow. There are some loud trucks around here. That guy, he has got the hammer down, son. He is, he's doing a West Coast turn, if I'm not mistaken. Boy, that was loud. I think that dude had a CJ5 and four-wheel drive and Smokey on his tail. But like I've said a couple times, there are several builders making a layout like this. I'll leave you some links in the video description where you can check the other full video tours I may have of those. I should edit my videos, but I don't. Anyway, this is just the real me on camera, basically. And I will also leave you a link in the description to be able to check the pricing and availability on one of these at any of our stores that happen to carry the Surveyor family. Short of that, let me know what you think about this one. Like, you know, I've told you what I like and maybe what I think is maybe not awesome. What's your hit list? Where did they nail it? Where did they fail it? Leave me a comment. Let me know. And if you appreciate how we try to give you that fair insight, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.